Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to talk about the new releases from Between the Buried and Me, Lorna Shore, and Not Enough Space. So, three, I guess, generally different sounding albums today.
Yeah.
And let's start with Weaponize Your Rage by Not Enough Space. This is the band that we checked out a while ago with a single called No Way Out. I didn't remember too much from it because I think at that point we were checking out a few bands that we didn't really know much of, so they kind of meshed together a little bit at the time. But early on, I was liking the vocal variety on this album. Lots of nice harshes and variety of that, nice cleans as well. The high harshes on Devil Left Me on Red sound really, really cool. I liked that. Like that one specifically stood out to me. But there's a thing that happens on that song that I really like that kind of contributes to an issue I had with the album. There's this like Born of Osiris or Veil of Maya style syncopated section in the middle, which is sick, but it doesn't last that long. There are so many cool sections that just kind of like, here it is, and then they pull it away. And I'm like, oh, I like that. I want more. So early on, it kind of felt like there were some curveballs there, like Waiting for You, which is more of an electronic pop metalcore, and the rest of this is kind of like a melodic deathcore. But then as I listened to the album, I started to see just the album's character and that it was kind of that hybrid of it, which I think is actually pretty cool. But they had that much kind of variety within the genre and kind of, I guess, adjacent as well.
Yeah.
I will say though, the chorus from Don't Let Go sounds a lot like Faint by Linkin Park. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I wrote a Linkin Park note on that song, so.
Yeah, not only that, but like I was just kind of singing that over top, and then I was kind of singing like, okay, this is where the bridge, and I was kind of singing the bridge over top of it, and it lined up perfectly. I'm like, okay, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another song I really liked was actually Mayday. I think even though, you know, it kind of may contribute to the whiplash of styles on this album, I think it works out really well, especially as a break song on the record. So that one stood out to me as probably my favorite of those. But I do think there are really cool ideas on this album, and I just wish they were expanded on a little more. Overall, though, it's pretty good. Like, I generally enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think there's a lot of really good stuff on here, but it's kind of stained a little bit by kind of, you said whiplash. That's a good way to put it, I think, because I was listening to this and I kept feeling like the first four songs were all different genres, like close in relation, but just like, it felt like I went from like something hardcore to something deathcore, something metalcore to something pop metal, like then pop punk. Like track 4, it sounded to me like an Avril Lavigne song or a Paramore song or something along those lines. And it could. And they throw in a little bit of harshness here and there, but the song is so bright and kind of accessible sounding compared to stuff that came before it. So the very first track, Weaponize Your Rage, kicks off with pretty much a breakdown, which I thought was nasty. As soon as it started, I was like, okay, this is good. I like this right away. I'm pleased. Then the clean singing chorus comes in, and I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of a make or break thing. Not sure how I feel about that. There's some synth in there too to help kind of fill out the sound, which I really like when that's added in there. It's nice and tastefully done. Next song comes on, The Devil Left Me on Red. Sick vocals, right? Song goes hard. No sappy cleans on this one. There's a nice brie in the bridge, a squeal, right? And you hear those every once in a while on the album. They're pretty good. And then you get New Age Cannibal, which is like almost like falling in reverse. Like it's got that more poppy feel, right? And I feel like the band's just kind of just doing all kinds of stuff too much. And it needs to kind of maybe like find its pocket. Maybe this is its pocket. Maybe being kind of not random, but having a very diverse sound is part of their pocket.
I think it especially works here too, because even if they're gonna kind of like shift between genre focus, they're all adjacent. Like I remember you messaged me saying like, oh, they sound like different genres, and I hadn't listened to the album yet, so I was thinking like, is this like Kim Dracula style, like way off the chain? But it's not that drastic. I thought it would have been that drastic, but it's not.
It's not that drastic, not by a long shot. But it threw me off a little bit. But throughout the album, I'm noticing mostly the high harshes on the vocals. There's 2 vocalists, and they both sound really good. They're just amazing. Like the pitch and the tone that these ladies are hitting, it reminded me of like the mid 2000s deathcore scene, like that kind of that kind of like raw aggression and the high harshness, and I was really attracted to that. Track number 9, Primitive, has a moan in it. So
Oh, yeah.
there's a moan in it, so you can consider this one of the moan core bands. I thought that was kind of funny, but also kind of cool. I'm glad it's just like a one little thing here and there. They don't like overdo it and, kind of
It's
ruin
like
it.
what you get in a Talus song. Like, you get one per album.
One per album, yeah. But yeah, there's some good songs on there. Eye for an Eye was track number 10. I thought that was pretty good. Number 6, Kill It Repeat was pretty good. And yeah, the first 2 tracks were good as well. So yeah, overall, I thought the album was pretty good. But I just think there was a little bit too much shifting going on, and they're trying to maybe be too much. But maybe that's just how this band is, and maybe I just don't know much about them. I like you said, we checked out one song before. I think might have checked out another song or 2 of theirs in the past. But this is my first time listening to a whole album, so that's just maybe what this band does, and maybe they're not trying to experiment or anything like that. So overall, good stuff. Let's move on to the next album.
So, The Blue Nowhere by Between the Buried and Me.
BTBAM.
Big BTBAM fan. Him not so much. We have actually reviewed them twice on the channel. We did The Great Misdirect, which was part of our old Check This Out series. And then that year they announced Colors 2, which we also reviewed. That album made it onto my top 5. It, in fact, became one of my favorite albums of all time. It was that good. Loved it to death. Still do. This is the follow-up. Do I think, just on a first impression, it hit the heights of Colors 2? No. But it just came out. And this is a band that puts so much into their music that like you can't get the full scope of how you feel based on one listen. You just can't.
No, it takes a lot of listens to really unpack it.
Exactly. Now, I did listen to a few of the singles, and it kind of felt like they still had bits and pieces of Colors 2 left in their system, and they developed beyond that. Kind of. It's kind of hard to say just because of how much there is. But, it's something like Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark kind of sounds like an expansion of like the weird stuff in the middle of Colors 2, like The Future's Behind Us, like that kind of middle chunk, an expansion of that. And I thought that was pretty cool. I really like the 80s synth stuff that was in there too. I like that added some really cool character to it as well. But I also noticed there was a lot more bite on this record. Colors 2 felt like a big kind of just, this is the experience, you go on this magical journey. This one obviously does have a nice flow to it, but I found that there were a lot more stank face moments, a lot more like, let's get to business, here's something brutal. A song like Psychomantium is rad, and I think that one is a good example of just like, oh yeah, there's more aggression in this record overall. That being said, it is still BTBAM, so it does go like all over the place with what it presents. You look at something like Absent Thereafter, it really felt like a lot in that song, especially because I was at like the 4-minute mark and it felt like 7 at that point. But that's just kind of the magic of just like how much there is and how much content there is. And I feel like, it's the kind of thing that you really need to give more spins. But yeah, like it didn't blow me away, but it is something I definitely need to listen to more and more to really sink my teeth into, just because of the nature of this band. But it didn't blow me away immediately like Colors 2 did. Because when Colors 2 came out, like I was instantly floored.
Yeah.
So, I just got to spin it some more, but there was some cool and creative stuff in there, as always with this band.
Yeah, so as TV Fish mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of this band. I've struggled to get into them, but I'm always willing to give things a chance, and I always give it a full and honest try. So my experience with this on a first listen was, I guess, what I was expecting. Right? There's a lot of stuff going on, and I recognize the talent. I understand these guys are phenomenal musicians. There's a lot of really intricate technical things going on there. I don't understand all of it, but I get that it's happening. So I'm not completely oblivious to that stuff. But it feels, in a sense, kind of try hard in a way, because I feel like, why are they doing all this stuff? That's what's going through my head a lot of the time. And what I started thinking of is there was a movie that came out year or so ago called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I feel like that title of that movie describes this album or a band like this in musical form, because it just feels like they're just doing everything all the time. And in a way, it almost feels schizophrenic. Like, it feels like there's just like multiple personalities and they're all just popping in and out of existence whenever they feel like it. And to me, that is an unpleasant listening experience. I don't mind music that changes. I don't mind music that goes different directions and does different things, but sometimes it's just too much, and I think this is one of those examples. Track number 2, God Terror.
That's a good one.
It was good at parts. I wrote my note. I said every 2 minutes it sounds like I'm listening to a different band. Why does it feel like I'm listening to Marilyn Manson right now? And there's like a whole section where I feel like it's Marilyn Manson, like instrumentally, even vocally. I'm like, what? This is cool. I kind of dig this, but I know it's not gonna last, and it doesn't. Same thing happened with track number 3, Absent Thereafter. I thought it had a nice, fun, upbeat rhythm to it. I'm digging it. I'm like, yeah, this is good. But in my head, I'm like, I know this isn't gonna last. I look at the track length, it's 10.5 minutes long. At a certain point, I didn't even know what genre I was listening to. It's like, it's got this twangy stuff going on. I was like, is this rockabilly, or is this like some like old-timey rock and roll, or like what is going on here? And what happened to that first part of the song that I was really digging, right? So stuff like this, I understand there's an audience for this kind of stuff, clearly. And I don't fault anybody for that. You do you. But if I like a song, the last thing I want that song to do is change into a different song, right? And that's what this band does. And it's just something that I have trouble supporting, because I want to add songs to my playlist, but I can't add half a song to my playlist, right? I can't add a section of a song to my playlist. I need a whole song that's consistent. And this band does do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They do have material like that. But it's few and far between. They like to throw everything out at once. They like to do all kinds of crazy stuff, circumvent expectations, curveballs all over the place. That's what they do. And the fans of this band like that stuff. So it's just not for me. So my review on a first impression is not the greatest, but I'm just not into this style of prog. I can do prog, but this is a little bit too much prog for me.
Yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste. Like there's bands, genres out there that are just not the easiest for anyone to just kind of pick up and enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If I sat down with an album like this and really like got used to it and got familiar with it and really drove it home, I could probably learn to love it. You know?
I mean, to be fair, we did review this band twice, so you kind of already...
Yeah, and I can't remember what my scores were on those.
They were like middle of the pack-ish.
Middle of the pack, yeah. So maybe it just wouldn't work for me at the end of the day.
Maybe one of their albums is going to be like the key. I don't know. Maybe try Alaska. That one's a lot more straightforward and heavy.
Never know. Anyways, let's move on to the final album of the day, which is I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me by Lorna Shore.
How do we start this? Lorna Shore.
Lorna Shore is controversial. They're a polarizing band because there's two sides of the community. I think a lot of people are Lorna Shore fans.
Yeah,
but there's two sides of the fandom. There's a side that just likes everything they do and just sucks their dick all day long, and then there's the side that criticizes them for what we think is legitimate reasons, and then we get hate for it. So,
I mean, what was it? 3 singles we checked out? 2 of them were like, okay,
Prison of Flesh, Oblivion, and what was the other one? Did we check out 3?
Yeah, Oblivion, Unbreakable. Unbreakable is the one that we really liked. And I still do like that song. I think it is a more concise version of kind of what this band has been doing lately. So, cool. But, you know, we've said what we've said about this band. We've reviewed this band. We've done we've covered this band tons of times on this channel before.
Yeah.
And the main criticism that we would have is that the band starts to get a bit repetitive with the way that it makes the music. And that opinion would make people upset. Now keep in mind, that might be how Vile feels, that might be how I feel, it might be how you feel, or it doesn't. I feel like it's not really fair to get up in arms at people for having an opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just think that's silly. So just keep an open mind. We might like it or dislike it. You may like it or dislike it. I mean, let us know what you think of the album either way anyway. But what I thought, I guess, the guitar solos on this album are unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh my, every single one. All of them.
Top tier,
are incredible.
God tier guitar solos.
And we made note of that when we reacted to the songs. Like, fuck, 6 solo.
I remember making a note of it for Oblivion, but the rest of the songs, I was just getting floored each time. I was like, holy shit, another one?
He does it again.
Another one? Like, holy crap, the guy's hitting grand slams nonstop.
Yeah, oh my god, some of the best guitar work I've heard of the year, like on the solos. So and what's amazing about it is that it's set up well by the way these songs kind of go, but it hits the sweet spot between leaving space and not leaving space. There's shreddy parts, and then there's parts where they kind of leave it open and really soak in the atmosphere. Like, these are just such incredibly crafted guitar solos. Wow. Like, if some of your favorite stuff in metal is guitar solos, you need to listen to this album, because you're gonna get exactly what you love. Sure, the songs are long for the most part. It's generally on the longer side. They average around 6-ish, 7-ish minutes. But trust me, it's worth it if you like guitar solos, because wow. And it's a note that you like. I'm sure you probably did as well. You keep writing the note like, great solo on this one, okay, this one too, and this one and this one. So it's like, that's a point where it's like, okay, this album just has phenomenal solo. Yeah, that is the best and most awesomest part of this album. I don't recall loving Lorna Shore solos as much as I do on this album.
No, I was trying to think back. Did Pain Remains even have solos to this caliber? Like, I'd have to go back and listen again, but I definitely, like, we reviewed that album. Yeah. And I definitely didn't walk away from it going, man, there were some good solos on that. Like, that just wasn't a thought or a feeling that I had. But this one, on a first listen, it immediately became very prevalent and, like, obvious that the solos are just nailing it every time. Yeah. Anyways, enough of the solos. What else?
So, I want to mention one thing about Prison of Flesh, and I did mention this in the reaction. It's the intro is sick, really, really cool. I love the hype that it builds. Yeah. I just wish that rhythm was reused in a riff, because they do come back to it later on. But I wanted to hear that in a riff.
You talking about like the kick drum that plays? Yeah,
or whatever. Almost sounds like a clavier rhythm. Anyway. I wish they came back to that as part of a riff, because I think that would be really cool, because just the way that the song builds up is sick. But then on top of that, it would also add a little bit more variety to the song and to the rest of the album, which does play into the problem. Yes, the songs are basically the same. Yep. Now, you know, there's bands, there's albums, there's stuff where it's like, yeah, we do this thing and that's the thing we do and people enjoy that, and that's totally fine. And there's plenty of bands and stuff like that. Yeah. For me, I would like to see this band do more, because I know they're capable of more, and they proved it on this album with a song called War Machine.
War Machine, yep. Agree.
Love this song. It caught me by surprise because it actually turned things on its head. You know, really cool intro. The drums have dynamics. It sounded more like an old school deathcore song to me. Like, they tapped into like the energy of like 2009 or something for this song, and then they did it their way. You know, like, there's aspects of the song that made me feel like they were channeling the spirit of Whitechapel. And I'm thinking, wow, this is incredible. Like, kick-ass song, great way to actually break stuff up on the album. And then after that, A Nameless Hymn, it sounds better mainly because of the contrast that's right before. What's cool about that song, though, is that it does have a bit more of a black metal tinge to it, especially considering the guitar work, which I guess the main highlight of this album just overall is just guitars, especially considering the solos, and there are cool riff stuff like that. But War Machine is the proof that I know this band can do really cool variety stuff, but I know that they're at a point now where they probably enjoy doing this kind of thing. They know people also enjoy it.
The fans are praising it.
So they just do that, and that's fine. It's totally fine to do that. It's fine to do that from get in the bag. It's fine to do that from just, that's satisfying for them, especially, you know, for the past few years, that's just what they like. That's totally fine, you know? Now,
we can also criticize it.
It can also be criticized that almost every song has this form: an ominous intro, introduce whatever riff with a wall of noise, then they introduce their melodic chorus, so then they got their wall of noise verse into their melodic choruses, it gets quiet right before the bridge, you have a kick-ass 5-star solo, and then either breakdown or chorus out or both. The key change is optional. They've done that. I think there's a song where they modulated twice, which I thought was pretty funny. And that's kind of the problem, is that form is basically what almost every single one of these songs do. I feel like War Machine mixed it up, kind of changed some things about it, and I wanted to see a little bit more mix-ups like that from this band. Once again, that's just how I feel. I guess
this is a criticism we've had basically since To the Hellfire as well. So that EP, Pain Remains, and this album all kind of follow the same suit. And this is a criticism we've had for that long. And people argue with us, and that's fine. Everybody has their own take, their own opinions on it. But, I mean, you could take 2 or 3 or any Lorna Shore songs and kind of layer them together in an editing program and play them, and it'll sound like one song.
Didn't you do that when we did the last review?
I did. And I can't remember what songs I put, but I put like 3 or 4 songs and layered them together, and they all do the same thing. They start off with an ominous build-up intro, they hit with a blast beat wall of noise, and then they kind of just go and do the thing. But if you don't know it's 3 different songs and you start listening to it, it almost just sounds like its own song by itself. That's how similar they are. And this album was no different. Track number 1, great album opener. It starts off this brooding, ominous build-up intro.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. And I thought that's a great intro track for the album because it does that.
Exactly.
But then you get track number 2, another calm build-up into a wall of blast beats. Track number 4, another build-up in with the fade. It's also fading in. It fades in the volume, right? From quiet to, right? And then into a wall of blast beats. Number 5, Glenwood, which they dropped a video for. We may or may not react. I don't know. It depends on how much time we have. To my surprise, it started off slow and it didn't go into a blast beat, at least not right away. At first, it had a few bars of Will yelling something about going back to the past or something like that. I can't remember what the lyrics were, but he was saying back to how it used to be. It reminded me of like a MAGA message or something like "Make America Great Again." I don't know. That's what I thought of for some reason. But then the blast beat kicks in. I mean, it was inevitable. Then track number 7, another slow build-up intro. This time it's got a choir in it, and the blast beat just comes in. It's inevitable. Track number 8, War Machine. So this is where I agree with TV Fish, where this song stands out a lot. It's got a slow fade build in. I wrote that it has a different feel to it. I dug the way it's building up, and I was like, it better not do it. It better not do it. But then it goes into a blast beat. The thing with this is, it has a different kind of riff to go along with it, which completely changes the feel of the song. The riff was a lot more discernible, and it just made it more tolerable. It made it stand out. It made it feel different. It made it sound different. And that's all I want from this band. Just something to make me go, wow, a different sounding song.
And not only is it different, but it's awesome. Like, it's a sick song.
It's a sick song, and the solo is just dope. And I'm sitting here going, how do I even choose what the best solo on this album is at this point? Like, I'm 8 songs in, I'm like, these solos, we're praising these solos like to heavens, but A Nameless Hymn, also all the blast beats make the song boring. Forevermore, the last song, really slow build up on this one. You got synth, you got choir. It takes a full 2 minutes before the blast beats kick in. Mind you, the song's like, I can't remember how many.
9:40 or
something like
it's
that,
about
yeah.
10 minutes.
So it takes a full 2 minutes of build up before the blast beat wall kicks in. But it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. It's basically what this band does. They're programmed to do it, and they just need to try something else.
But like, that's the thing though. It's like they're comfortable with what they're doing, and it's like I can respect that. It's just I, as a fan, and you as a fan, would like to see something else.
Exactly. And then we're not saying, oh, this sucks, we don't like this. We want to do better.
Yeah, I don't even hate this album at all. It's just I
Exactly.
understand, like, okay, this is just what the band is right now, and they showed a little bit of proof that they can do something more, and I want to see more.
Yeah, so I think what happens is they'll do something like at the end of that song, the very end of the album, they'll throw in some nice piano, a string arrangement, and they'll have this nice closeout to the song. They have a sample of waves crashing the shore, and it's very beautiful, it's very nice. And I think they put stuff like that here and there on songs, and people go, oh, that's enough. That was enough to make that song different or that song unique. And there's like a slightly, like the one song I mentioned with that had the choir in the intro. Like not all the beginnings have choir, but that one did. So people are gonna go, oh, that song stands out.
The choir song.
But they all still have the same riffing patterns on the same blast beats with the same vocal phrasings. That's another thing. The vocal phrasings are all very similar. And
Same form.
the same form, the same formulas, the same formats, whatever word you want to use. And it's tiring. And we want this band to do more stuff like War Machine, where they're kind of coming out of their shell, doing something a little different, playing a riff that's discernible, that's memorable, that gives a song character, right? And, you know, I don't like the fact that the community just keeps praising the same stuff over and over again because it makes the band think that's okay. And I mean, like you said, they're collecting the bag, so I guess it is okay, but...
I mean, not only that, but maybe the band themselves, they're having fun and doing this the way that this is, and that's just what they like to do right now. And it's like I said, I can respect that, fine. I just prefer if they did more or something different. But it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever I go back and listen to Immortal, like as just like a test for myself, like am I bored of Lorna Shore, or have they rubbed off on me or something like that? I'll go back and listen to Immortal, and I'm reminded that at that time they were writing good shit.
Did you listen to Flesh Coffin at all?
I did listen to Flesh Coffin and thought that was good too.
Yeah, I remember listening to a bit of that after people were saying that when these singles were coming out that this was sounding more like that, and I did listen to a bit of Flesh Coffin. I did think that was quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the entire Will Ramos era of Lorna Shore has it lacks in creativity. The musicians are talented, right? You're getting crazy stuff in the instrumentals. Will's an amazing vocalist. Don't take anything away from these guys in that aspect of it. But the songwriting is weak. And at a certain point it was strong, but you can't just keep writing the same strong song over and over and over again and expect people to be non-critical of it. So like I said at the beginning here, we are of the side of the fandom that's critical of it. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people that say, no, we like it how it is, leave it how it is, we don't want them to change, and just keep feeding us the same bowl of mac and cheese all day long, over and over and over again.
And if that's what you like to do, you like eating that mac and cheese, power to you.
Yeah. But overall, I still like it as a song, as a metalhead, as a deathcore album. It's still good. It just needs a little more potatoes with the meat, or however you want to say it. I don't know.
Well, anyway, we did make the decision that we won't be reviewing any of these albums this week. So, but that being said, we're still going to listen to plenty of metal throughout the weeks going forward, and that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Tell us in the comments below, what do you think of all three of these albums? Anything else that come out today that's got your ear? We love to hear what you guys have to say, and subscribe if you guys are new. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
See you guys later.